I'd also urge civics education. When I went to school in the United States, I had to do a whole subject about how their voting system worked, the electoral college and everything else. That in Australia, I mean, I did politics in year 12, but up until then, never learnt about our voting system or our democracy. And I think that's a great shame. I think the left profit off that. And, you know, we've got an intelligence audience here on Sky News, but I was inundated with emails going through the campaign of people wanting to preference the Liberal Party or stay or vote with the Liberal Party, but ensure their preferences didn't somehow go back to the Greens. And they couldn't follow the system, you know, so I think that's also part of the problem. Hey, Daniel, Chris Bowen out of witness protection, but he's running around now saying he has a mandate from the silent majority, not just backing wind and solar, but going harder and faster. In particular, today he was pushing on about offshore wind. What do you make of this?
This is really the height of arrogance, Peter. This is dramatic overreach. And I think it suggests that this government will overreach when it comes to energy policy, and it's misreading the room. I mean, you've led the charge on this when it comes to regional communities, whether it's offshore wind or whether it's the massive solar and wind projects on prime agricultural land. Many communities in regional Australia completely and totally oppose these projects, or at best, they are deeply, deeply divided. And I would say if Chris Bowen was so confident as to his position, if he's so confident that net zero and his vision of net zero was a vote winner, why wasn't he on the ground in Illawarra campaigning every single day on this matter? Because Labor knows it's a vote loser, not a vote winner. It might help them win seats like Brisbane and win the Greens voters, but it does not help them with outer suburban Australians, much less those in regional Australia. So if this is the attitude of Chris Bowen when it comes to net zero, then I think you're right. We are in for a very challenging couple of years.
And it's right across the board too. We've got a major fertiliser plant in northeast Queensland. This is near Mount Isa, Dyno. It's Phosphate Hill plant. Looks like it might have to close because high power prices make it just untenable to process phosphate in Australia. 500 workers will lose their jobs. You've got the Northwest Shelf, a $30 billion project, the extension sitting on the desk of the new Minister, Murray Watt. Labor's, kicked that one around for the last 4 or 5 years and has not made a decision. And this boondoggle of green hydrogen that poor old taxpayers are wasting billions and billions and billions of dollars on, Aaron. Twiggy Forest today junks another 90 jobs. Everyone's walking away from it. Everyone but Chris Bowen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chris Bowen, it's not surprising they put him in witness protection given his previous campaign performances, but they didn't want to talk about their energy plans during the campaign at all. So it is galling that he claims a mandate. And this is the reality. Cheap, reliable power is the lifeblood of our economy. And really importantly, in this fertiliser example is a heartbreaking example. It's the lifeblood of manufacturing and rural and regional communities. We cannot have the standard of living that we deserve in this country without cheap and reliable power. Last election, as we all know, Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen promised a $275 reduction that never happened. This time they weren't promising that, but they wouldn't even commit to keeping prices down or lower. So at least this time they didn't lie to us, but they still wouldn't claim any way to get cheap, reliable baseload power for the Australian people. And we're going to unfortunately see more businesses struggling in this chase for something that is unachievable at this moment. Green hydrogen, which the Prime Minister used to talk about, he will not mention anymore because he knows it's not sustainable, it's not economical, and it doesn't stack up. That's why we're seeing even Twiggy Forrester and others, as you said, pulling out of green hydrogen. There is a lot of gaps in the Prime Minister and the government's plans, and they have no answers to it. And unfortunately, it's the Australian people that are going to pay the price, and Australian businesses and Australian jobs.
Just before we go, Aaron, you're willing to do a front bench job if you get a call up from the leader?
Well, Peter, as you know, we serve in the Liberal Party not at the will of the factions, but the will of our leader. I was really honoured to be re-elected with an increased margin as the member for Casey. I fundamentally believe that for my community to be strong, the country needs to be strong. For the country to be strong, we need a strong Liberal Party, first in opposition and then in government. So I want to play a positive role in that as the leader, as Susan sees fit. Obviously, I'd love to have a big voice, whether on the backbench or in a shadow ministry position, but I'll keep working hard for my community, keep putting a positive suggestions forward, and hopefully that results in a bigger role in the future. But I always appreciate our processes and that we do serve at the will of the leader.
You might have to do a bit of a lecture series for all your colleagues up there and show them how it's done. In fact, you increased your margin. I think you'd be the only one in the parliament on your side of politics who did that. Well done.